There's no but. There's no but. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can totally see why Sonia and Sharon are such good friends. Anyway, I understand that Sharon and Sonia have been friends since they were 14 years old. That's like 10 years, everybody. That's incredible. Anyway,
The joke is that Sharon is James's child bride, guys. That's the joke. That's the joke, okay? Math. This is math. So a few things. I'd just like to mention that Uncle Joseph Chakkalackal passed me his wine bottle because he felt that I needed a drink or a few. So this is his half drinking one, so we'll see how it goes. So apologies for not being more classy. The other thing is that everyone's trying to set me up with people at this wedding. Can we talk about the options? I asked about Frank, but he's been married for over 100 years, is what I was told. Someone suggested Sharon's dad, but he's like my dad. I know, he's like my dad. He's like my dad. I know. And I'm Hindu, so we do multi-lives and things like that. So maybe in the next life. No one's offered James, but there's still time. So as I mentioned earlier, my name is Sonia Agrawal, and I've had the very exciting and wonderful and sometimes mostly annoying pleasure of being friends with Sharon for almost 25 years. We met in high school in grade 9. I had just joined our high school. Sharon had been there for a year. And let's just say she was not very kind when I met her. Sort of surprised I was there, really. And wondering, at the new girls' orientation where we each had a buddy, she was not my buddy, Anissa was. But Sharon came by because they were friends, and I was really excited, and Sharon gave me a look of contempt. Some of you may have seen it before. I know. Lauren was really kind, actually, but because she was the younger sister. But so it's a Chakkalackal sort of look of contempt. 2 of 6. Actually, Jishelle also has said look as well. So half of the group. 3 of 6. 3 of 6. Yes, I know. It's right. Okay, I'm not. They just mentioned it. So I'll get over the fact that her little sister bullied me when I was in OAC and she was in grade 7. But anyways, she bullied me, Uncle. I wanted to be friends with her, and she was really hard. I know. It's the theme. So anyway, so look of contempt. You've seen it. James has definitely seen it. And then we became fast friends. So it was interesting because, I like to joke around. Sharon likes to joke around. And I was thinking about this, and then I said, what does Sharon remind me of? And so this is going to get a little bit like, she's like, I don't know, choking on her thing. But I'm actually going to get sentimental for a moment. Sharon reminds me of sunshine. We have a lot of fun together. We laugh together. We joke together. We mostly rag on each other. And it feels like sunshine every time I'm with her. Sharon reminds me of rain. Like really hard, heavy rain where you're basically soaked, and then pellets, and then hail, and it's really bad. Over the years, the almost 25 years, we've had a lot of various heartbreaks and downs and sad times. But we've come out the other side, and then there's always a rainbow at the end. So thank you for always being there for me. Sharon reminds me of meadows and wildflowers and running and childlike behavior and making Bollywood dances and just fun, real, true, kid-like fun. Sharon reminds me of a palette of fresh paint. She's juicy and colorful and has many layers and many depths, and sometimes it's dry and crusty and you're trying to dig it out of the side of the palette. But other than that, then you just pour some more paint and it gets better. And actually, Sharon is a beautiful painter and artist, so hopefully one day you'll see her paintings inside. Sharon reminds me of myself. We are nothing alike. Like literally, there is not any two people who are completely more different than the two of us. but she brings me closer to myself. She reminds me of being who I am and who I want to be, and she supports me and loves me. So that's who Sharon is to me. And then there's James. So I had heard about James when they first met. And Sharon and I were driving up north, and she's like, hey, I met a guy. He talks a lot. Like, he talks a lot. Like, I'm not really sure about the talking. Like, I don't know when he'll stop talking. He just keeps talking. And I was like, oh, dear God, oh, dear God. And she's like, but there's something about him. You know, I want to see him again. And I think you may have had just your first or second date at the time of this. And, you know, she talked about you throughout. And again, he still just talks a lot. Like, I just want to take a break. Like, let's just stop talking for 5 minutes and just wait and take a break. And then I finally met James. And of course, as all of you know, and as the Dooleys have said as well, James is someone who you fall immediately in love with. He becomes your best friend right away. And he becomes your best friend. I thought I was special because I met him. I'm like, oh, like, we're actually really alike. And I really like talking to you. And maybe I just want to hang out with you instead of Sharon. But then I realized as I saw him with other people, he's like this with every single person, which is amazing and lovely and is the best. So I just want to say I love you with all of my heart, Cher. I protect you. I think of you all the time. And there is no one better than James. And if you do anything, I'll... No, just kidding. Sorry, kids. But, sorry, children. But, no, but thank you so much. You are both the luckiest. I'm so sorry. I should go in timeout. I will go to the side, to the corner to time out. My apologies. But anyways, I just wanted to say congratulations. If you could each raise your bottles, not your glasses, because now I'm just drinking from a bottle. Cheers to Sharon and James.
Thank you, Sonia. Things got a little blue there. Now, Peter is the lifelong best friend of the groom, and the two have shared many misadventures together, and that's not just the world travels. Peter's also a comedian, and that means no one here poses more of a threat to embarrassing James than him. So I've been really looking forward to this. Please come on up, Peter.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle, for setting the bar that high. I'm a comedian. Yeah, I'm hilarious. All you other guys were amateurs. I haven't paid to do comedy in 5 years, so I guess we're in the same ranks. But, Sharon, I got to say that congratulations. You are now the bravest person in the entire world. Seriously, NASA took on less getting to the moon than you have taken on with James Patrick Dooley. And there's just one of you. So you are now my new personal hero. Congratulations. It's true. James and I, we go back, we met when we were 12 at summer camp. And I remember liking him right away. I thought he was cool. And he remembers me thinking I was a big dork. So we started well. But to say that we grew up together, I think is giving us too much credit. Oh, we got older together. But we did not grow up, okay? I mean, sure, one of us got balder. I won't say who. You can guess. Dude, your dad has more hair than you do right now. That's great. Good for you, Mr. Dooley. And but James has made great strides in life in certain ways, like his vocal ability. Because I remember when we were 17, we went down to Mexico together, and I had to introduce this guy as my deaf-mute friend, James, for 2 weeks. I'm not kidding. It was to spare him the embarrassment from having to actually talk to anybody new. He was that shy that for 2 weeks in Mexico, everyone thought that James was literally a dummy. They weren't far off. Oh, sure, we're 17-year-old guys on a beach in Mexico. Did we meet girls? No, we met nobody, okay? Because James couldn't open his mouth to even say hello. And like Kyle says, now you turn on the TV, and there he is on, trying to sell a kayak, and there he's got like a fish through his guts. Like, the guy doesn't shut up anymore. But I remember him as a kid when he was just mute. So, well done, Mr. Dooley. Well, you open that mouth and let that crap come out. But 7 years after Mexico, James and I went off to Bangkok on a one-way ticket. We didn't have our next destination booked for that night. And that's how desperate his parents were to get rid of him. They trusted him with me. in the jungles of Asia. Like, that's how desperate they were for James to grow up, that they put him in my care, okay? Now, if you don't know me, that's not funny. But if you know me, it's quite hilarious. I shouldn't be around children. I should be around anybody. And here I'm giving a speech, and here I'm showing James through the viaducts of Bangkok, Thailand. Like, yeah, sure. Oh, don't worry, James, we'll make it. No, spoiler alert, we did. But I did my best to get myself killed, though. I'll tell you that much. It's true. Our first week there, I'm on a motorbike, and I hit the side of a truck, speeding truck. And they have a very simple law in Thailand. If you hit the side of the truck, it's your fault. But if you hit the front of the truck, you're dead, but it's not your fault. Unfortunately, I lived. But that was actually it was actually one of the most terrifying, traumatizing, and expensive days of my life. I really thought the trip was over. We'd only been there like a week. I thought I'd come home. I was miserable. I was broke. I had no ticket home. But by the end of that night, I was on the back of James's motorbike, and we were singing. And we were winding through the jungles of Thailand. James is on the bike, and I'm singing. And I remember that's one of those times it hits you that you have a best friend, because only James would have had me singing at that day. So he's not all bad. And then at 24 years old, we go off to find ourselves in Asia. I come back 3 years later. I'm no different. James comes back 10 years later, and the only thing that's changed about the guy is his accent. That's it. Where did that Irish accent go anyway? And then, he had a little bit of focus when he came back from Ireland. I'll give him that. Like, he was starting to build his voice over empire. But this is still the guy, when he came back that year, that sent me a Christmas card that read, I wrote it down so I wouldn't... Yeah, this is what he wrote me for that Christmas card the day he came back from Ireland. I hope you get less gifts this year than you expected this Christmas. I wish I didn't even give you this. I feel sorry for your family. Merry Christmas, James. Yeah, that's what he did. So and then something happened. He met Sharon. Yeah, and everything changed. I mean, seriously, people have said it already this evening, but his voice changed when he met Sharon. He started, like that phony voiceover crap he puts on. It went off. And he actually sounded normal for once. And he started talking about this woman who's so wonderful and funny, and how she gets a sense of humor. Yeah, good luck with that. Let me share you a postcard that James wrote me as kids. This is from Disney World. Now remember, he's a kid when he wrote me this postcard. Pete, Disney World's hell on earth. The big Mickey guys in suits keep getting drunk and calling profanities, stumbling and grabbing girls. James. This is a kid's postcard from Disney World. Now lately James is talking about love and Sharon and marriage and Sharon. I'm like, what the, like, is my best friend growing up? Like, thanks for leaving me behind, Dooley. You know the pressure on me now? Here at 45, unmarried? But the funny thing is, no one's trying to set me up, but they're trying to set up Roberta. That's the funny part there. I guess we could call James a late bloomer. It's obvious. I mean, he's never been better than he has with Sharon. Though with James, it's a low bar. But it's true. Sharon, you make him very happy, and you make him a better person, and thank God for that. And I'd like to actually end on the words of Tagore. And Tagore said, every child comes with a message that God is not yet discouraged of man. And every marriage comes with the message that man and woman is not yet discouraged of love. To my best friend and his wife. Cheers.
Right, like, what was I thinking mentioning he was a comedian, right? That was crazy. Next up is Jishelle, who is a doctor who's studied in Ireland, and she has been working the front lines on COVID-19, and for all that, you all have our respect and gratitude. But of course, if you're like me, I also make you a little nervous, make you want to take a step back and maybe even pee a little bit. But nevertheless, we are very grateful.
Okay, guys, I have a lot of tough acts to follow right now. Sonia, I'm looking at you, buddy. So, I don't really know where to begin. I guess I'll start by saying a big congratulations to Sharon, my girl, and James. It feels a bit surreal, honestly, to be standing here at your wedding. But I couldn't be happier for the both of you. For those of you that don't know, I'm Sharon's youngest sister, and growing up, I idolized Sharon. She was my best friend. She's my sister, but she won't like me saying this. She was also my second mom. She's my go-to person, and even in times where she couldn't really do much about it. I remember one specific incident. Sharon was in university in Montreal, and I was in high school in Toronto. I had gone to a high school dance, and I called her in the middle of the night freaking out because I had lied to my mom, and I had told her that the dance ended at 3 a.m. so that I could go to the after party. But what ended up happening was I got stranded in a cab for 4 hours in the middle of nowhere. Who was the first person I called? Sharon, who was in another province. That's right. Sharon picks up, hears me out, and she's like, Jish, but I can't do anything for you, man. You gotta answer mom's phone calls. I was like, well, okay. But yeah, Sharon's someone who's always supported and believed in me, even when I really didn't. Ooh, I don't want to cry, but she always went above and beyond for me. And to be honest, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for you. The countless times you read over personal statements that I insisted on sending in at the very last minute. And when I really didn't think that I had any chance of going to med school, you're my number one supporter.
You're awesome, man. You're awesome.
But anyway, given how wonderful and amazing Sharon is, I've obviously been very protective of her. And I think Sharon knows that pretty well. I've already talked about this at the engagement party a little bit. Sharon will be embarrassed to recall that a former flame of hers, I met one night at a bar, and I told him that should he ever hurt her, I would cut him. And I said very seriously that this would be the case. But in all seriousness, James, I'm so happy that you two found each other. I see the way that you care for Sharon, that you love her for who she is, all the weird quirks, all the alone times that she requires. And I know that you'll do anything that you can to try and make her happy. So I know I don't really need to try and protect her anymore. Probably never did. You're pretty strong on your own. I know you'll do your best to protect her as best as you can. So welcome to the family, James. You're the first brother to join the Chakkalackal ranks. I wish you guys a lifetime of happiness and love. Sonia stole my line, so I'm looking at you. But now you got two people on your back, James, so remember, if you ever hurt her, I'll be coming for you.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Jishelle. Catharine and Patrick Dooley are the groom's parents, of course, and they're also my dear aunt and uncle. I feel especially blessed because I kind of feel like I had two sets of parents. So wonderful growing up. My daughter, now she's when she was 5 years old, was always referred to my Uncle Patrick as the funner maker, which is a title that actually James shared because the two of them were very much alike when it comes to kids. So it was always wonderful to see that. It's the kind of joy that they bring to every family gathering, and it's a joy to behold. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. But not unlike the liberal interpretations we have seen of what 6 feet social distancing means, here you will now see a liberal interpretation of a 2-minute speech. So please enjoy.
Let's try. So I guess this wasn't scripted. So the first thing I would like to do is thank everyone involved for taking such care today to look out for all of us during these crazy, crazy times, and all the care and precautions that you've taken, James and Sharon, and everybody involved. So thank you very much for that. And I also, as a preamble, enough bashing of my son, okay? This is, all right.
He's got your back.
I should have blue cards. All right, well, first of all, we're delighted to be here today celebrating our son James' wedding to Sharon. Today we're filled with so much joyful emotion, yet if I had to choose one word, it would be grateful for how we feel today. We are grateful that James has found such a beautiful, sweet, sensitive, supportive woman to be his wife. Our son James is a true gentleman. He is very much like his grandfather, my dad, and his namesake. His grandfather was known as Gentleman Jim. Like his grandfather, James has a fun, loving, adventurous spirit who loves life and family. A measure of a good man is how they behave around children. In our family, as Kyle had mentioned earlier, Uncle James is known as the funner maker.
James spent 10 years in Ireland, but decided to come back to Canada because he realized that he was missing 3 things that he loved: family, sunshine, and snow. When James returned to Canada, he stayed with my 91-year-old mom. He lived with her for a while until he bought his own condo, and this enabled my mom to remain in her own home longer with his assistance. James cooked my mom dinners, which she always loved, and she and James both shared a love of watching the Blue Jays games together. He didn't mind his grandma retelling the same stories over and over, and my mom loved James' super helpful companionship.
We're extremely proud of our son and all that he has accomplished. He's a good man who knows what values are most important in life. He's taught me a lot. He always tells me, Dad, thanks for teaching me this or teaching me that. But the truth is, son, you've taught me a lot as well, and particularly what really matters in life, those very important values. James is like an old soul with a young heart who is happiest in nature, as we've all heard, or being around a warm fire with family and friends, a true romantic.
Sharon, we are delighted you are joining our family. We see how good you are for James and how supportive you are for each other and how your values are aligned. We see the love bestowed by you by our granddaughters, Sadie and Maggie. The very first time we met Sharon was Thanksgiving weekend 2 years ago. And immediately our 2 granddaughters jostled so that they could sit beside Sharon at the dinner table. You made it easy to get to know you. You fit right in, and so glad we didn't scare you away. Sharon, we love having you in our family.
And to Sharon's family, what a wonderful family. We've got to know you. We've got to know you even more this year and tonight, and just to see the warmth, and just feels like there's real kismet there. We love you guys. We'd like to thank her parents, Joseph and Mary, her sisters, Michelle, Lauren, Jishelle, and their partners, for warmly welcoming James into your family. Thank you very much. And in conclusion, we would wish James and Sharon a long and happy and prosperous marriage with lots of love. A toast to James and Sharon.
And you wanted to thank them.
There's a cheers. I'd like to personally thank my dear friend, Frank Devine. I've actually lost count of how many people Frank has married in the family. Frank is our esteemed Justice of the Peace. And thank you, Frank, for officiating today. Frank has been a good friend to the Dooley family for nearly 60 years. He's my best friend. I've known him since I was 10 years old. So thank you very much, Frank. We're honored to have you here today.
And
Thank
I'd
you.
like to say something too. And Frank was our best man at our wedding a few years ago. And it's Frank's anniversary this September, this month, 47 years ago.
Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Patrick and Aunt Kath. And now we come to the moment you've all been waiting for the first time in front of a microphone ever, the happy couple.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's been a very surreal experience. This is a little less nerve-wracking than the first time I was in front of the microphone. I don't have much to say. I don't have a speech prepared. I just want to say genuinely thank you to everybody for being here. It means a lot. During the vows, during the ceremony, probably to keep myself calm, that we're surrounded by the people that love us and care for us the most. This is a very, very special group, and it's a very special night. So thank you, everybody, for being here. It really means a lot to us. And I don't know if Naya's still here or if she's already gone, but Naya, a big shout out to Naya, who should be gone. This girl shouldn't be here anymore. She's the glue that held this night together. Thank you, Naya.
Yes. We just wanted to mention that Naya is the wedding coordinator. All the compensation that she gets goes to a charity. She gives 100% to a charity near Jane and Finch. Is that right, Naya? Yeah, Black Creek farming community. That basically helps give organic, natural food to people who are marginalized.
So I don't have anything else to say, but really just thank you, everybody, for being here and for giving everything they have and all the speeches. Oh, and is Lisa here? Or is Lisa's gone already? And also a big shout out. I mean, Naya's been important, but Kyle Milligan. I don't want to play favorites, actually. Okay, I mean, Kyle, Pete, your speech, Jishelle, I'm going to get you back for that. There's a lot of people here that have really done a lot that mean a lot to me, but I will play favorites. This guy is the reason this night actually took off the way it did. Kyle Milligan. Thank you very much, Kyle, for everything you did. Thank you.
And to Sonia as well, who also emceed and did a fabulous job. Thank you.
She's single, by the way. She's single.
Yeah. The night is still young. The night is still young. Yeah. Who could forget the singing stylings of Miss Reshmi Majumdar? Oh my. Beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you. And thank you all for being here. It means a lot to us.
Congratulations.
Cue up the music. Let's party. All right. Thank you, everybody.
I can drink now. Woo!